Hello, I'm Josie, and I will be challenging myself to write a song under an hour. In the making of this video, I decided to talk over and record and show off everything, but instead I'm just going to overdub it because it'd be a lot easier. Um, this setup is a one-man band setup, similar to Ty Segall and Barbecue, because I really like that sort of garage style. As you can tell, I have a dynamic microphone for vocals. At the same time, I have a kick drum with a tambourine and a hi-hat with a tambourine, both for percussion and drums. I initially was going to mic the tambourine on the hi-hat, but ultimately decided not to because I had this cheap mic I was going to use as vocals, and I had found it in my mom's old car like a couple years ago. It didn't work, so I ultimately had to scrap it, and I had to use the dynamic mic I was going to record the tambourine with as a voice mic. So that's why I didn't end up doing it. Which means that all I had for my drums was an overhead mic, and it's this cheap Amazon condenser mic that I'd gotten as a kid. Um, but it works wonders. So I had that as an overhead. I had a mic for vocals, and I DI'd my guitar, which I was using a Squier Telecaster to get the sound that I really liked. So while filming it, I had ultimately decided to set the overhead microphone in the back of the drum set's down here. And the reason that I had done that is because my friend, who is also into recording engineering, had recommended to try it out. And he came over yesterday and we did some like surf rock jamming, hooking up the kick drum, and it sounded really fucking good. So I was like, might as well just stick with it. I had left it there after jamming. I decided not to take it down. The way it sounds for this song in particular is not as good as I thought it would be. And the reason being, since it's just a tambourine and a kick drum, it's very quiet. So miking the drums was very important, and I don't think I did the best job for it. I had to go and try to like EQ it a little better, get a lot more low end on it. I think next time I mic up my one-man band stuff, I'm gonna set the microphone a kick drum. I'm gonna set a kick drum, and I'll probably just set hi-hat and entirely avoid an overhead because it's not like I'm miking up a bunch of toms and stuff. So yeah, next time I think I'm just gonna cut out the overhead and do some close-up miking. Guitar was DI. I believe I mentioned that. I could have mic'd up my small practice amp, and I could have gotten the signal through there, but I am out of microphones. I don't have a lot of microphones. I'm actually in the process of getting some more, so whenever that happens, I'll start doing that more often. But it really helped with any bleed. The vocals have a lot of drum bleed in it because I was playing drums and singing at the same time, but that's okay. It doesn't really sound that bad. If anything, it would help the drums with some more drums coming through the actual microphones. I ended up going with using a song topic generator just to make things more fun. It was hard to find one because every time you look up song generator, AI stuff shows up. And I was just looking for a simple wheel, and I ended up getting Future Goals, which was weird. So because I ultimately decided to just have it all mic'd up, I was able to not only figure out how to like write the song, but at the same time I was able to record my first couple takes. If there was something I like, it was able to be on record. Unfortunately, the footage of me performing is dog ass, so I don't know how much I want to use it. But it's whatever. It took me about 4 takes to finish performing the song, and after I had finished performing it, and gotten the final take, I was like, shit, I still have like 30 minutes left. So in the middle of the challenge, I ended up having 30 minutes left over. My partner was coming home from lunch midway through it, so I put in a pause on it, took a break, went, ate some chili, played some Mario Kart, And then as soon as they went back to work, I got back to work. So the way the song turned out was pretty cool. I had recorded all parts up until this point entirely at once. I did the vocals at once. I did the drums at the same time. I did the guitar at the same time. I ultimately ended up going back and deciding, well, I have 30 minutes and it's a challenge. I didn't really challenge myself. So I decided to throw in an instrument I don't know much about, and that's keys. I went in with a MIDI keyboard. I looked for a B3 organ sort of setup, and I put the keys in it. And the rest of the footage is me struggling with it. So we're setting the timer back on. That was a total of 25 minutes. We're at 34:45. Is it cheating that I had previously set the mics up? I don't know. The process is trying to record the song as quickly as possible, not trying to set the mics up and record the song as quickly as possible. At least I like to think so. I just think it saves time, and it gives me more time to do other things like mix it or actually write it and work on lyrics. I don't want to overdub anything. I kind of like the idea that it's all done in like one take. I think it took me about 3 or 4 takes to do it, but like, you know, all the instruments just done quickly. No overdubbing, nothing. All live, one-man band. I could, at this point, with the time that I have, I could just mic up all the drums and try to do actual drums over it. I would have loved to record bass, but at the moment, my bass is broken, and I have to solder that bitch back. And only today have I found the wire strippers in my garage. So right after this shit, I'm going to be soldering that back. I'm going to be working on some other things. I'm just going to be soldering for the rest of the day. It's probably going to sound like shit from the camera angle, but the end results will be pretty good. So if it sounds really bad, I'm just going to skip through it. Yeah, let's do it. I really like the way tape saturation sounds on it, so I'd put some on. I use Tape Cassette 2. It's my favorite plugin for this stuff. This footage is just me mixing, so I'm just going to dub over it and totally ignore it. I want to talk about my recording history. I started about a year ago. I started this band called the Jagoffs, and people really liked our performances and had asked us to make music and put it out, so I'd started recording and releasing. And since then, I'd gotten into wanting to build a studio, and me and a friend had decided to team up and record bands locally here. So I'm hoping this footage is kind of just a showing of what I can do myself. He's more into the mixing stuff. I'm not that good at it, but just showing what, what I can do at least, Trying to add a second, I'm just trying to overdub the guitar with a different tone to it, because the first one's pretty clean. It's got natural distortion, but I'm trying to do something that's a little fuzzier, and I had attached a what do you call it, a pitch shifter, just so it gives it a little more bass. So we'll see how that sounds like. Hopefully it makes the guitar sound more full. It is kind of an issue that it's only one guitar, so I'm hoping these two coinciding, especially with the pitch shifter on, will make it sound a little better. The drums, I think I'm going to have to do something to make them sound a lot more punchier. In this case, I feel like I should have had more direct microphones, like maybe one on the kick and one on the hi-hat, or at least face them more towards the kick, because I feel like there's not a lot of punch. I had faced the overhead mic towards the hi-hat, and yeah, I just kind of regret that. So what are you going to do other than re-record it? I guess we have time to re-record it, but it's okay. Here we are again with me going back into the mix and changing things. Now, I did mention before that I liked how it was not overdubbed. However, I had so much time, bro. I had a lot of time left over, and it just, I don't know. I was like, you might as well just make it sound a little less hollow, right? So I had just copied the guitar signal, and I'd applied it to a different guitar amp sim. And like I mentioned, I applied a pitch shifter, and I thought that might have helped fix it. And I think it turned out well, so. So right now we're just trying to mix down the vocals. I want to give it a little bit of like a triple echo, you know? Really close to like what Bass Drum of Death does. So let's just hear the vocals. So I'm running out of things to talk about because there's so much footage, and I think I'm just going to start cutting through it instead of speeding it up. We're going to be using a B3 keyboard just to add a little bit of a challenge. I know nothing about playing keys. I barely know where the C3 is. I literally had to just write a little mark to figure out where the keys are. I know how to play basic chords, and that's it. I used the Echo plugin. It's a stock plugin for GarageBand, and I did 1/16 triplet with a repeat of 36, and the rest of the settings are standard. So color 37, dry 96, wet 78. And I think it adds to it. It adds what I want. Yeah, kind of has that triple. So let me see if we can just do it straight on my lap. This looks stupid, but whatever. Let's see. That was G, G, C. So, I would like to preface that I don't know how to play keys. I have this big keyboard because someone traded me a bass guitar that I no longer wanted for it, and I was like, okay, sure. And I only really got it for the MIDI stuff because at the time I lived in a small apartment and couldn't play, you know. Let me turn these down. At the time when I first got it, I lived in a small apartment and I couldn't play any drums or anything. So I kind of just was a sucker for it, and I'm glad I got it. I just realized, oh my fucking god. I just realized this entire time I've been playing C, G, D. The chords are G, C, D. I've been doing it backwards. So that's why it sounds off. I was like, why does it sound good whenever I play this way, but when I play the other... I did it. It's gonna sound like dog ass, but that's okay. It's MIDI. We can clean it up. Oops. Should we? Probably not. It'll sound cooler if I don't. So now that we're at the end, I'd ultimately decided to duplicate the guitar, put a different sounding guitar and a pitch shifter added to it, as well as add some B3 organ. I really liked how it was at first, where it was super like raw and stuff and all one take, and that was really cool. But when I added the organ and like the extra stuff, I don't know, it made it sound more full, and I had extra time. I don't know what to do with it, so I was like, make it sound more full, why not? So that's the end of the challenge. I definitely challenged myself. Now I know how to play G, C, and D on a keyboard. So if anyone wants to start a really simple blues band, I would happily love to jump on any songs in the key of G. I don't know. I think it came out really cool. I like it. Let me know what you think. That's about it. Check out my other stuff. check out the Jagoffs. If you like this stuff, check out the Jagoffs. Jagoffs started as a one-man band. I was just performing at my friend's house, and then I got 2 people asking if they wanted to form a band, so I was like, yeah. And now it's like a full band, which is really cool. But yeah, it's fun. One-man bands are fun to play. If you don't have anyone to jam with, just play with yourself, obviously. Duh. Yeah, that was cool.